Hello everyone, welcome to UPSC Journey. This is Kirti Shokeen and today we are going to do a comprehensive analysis of the Hindu newspaper for June 2nd, 2026. We are going to cover some important topics for prelims, editorial analysis for mains and some key concepts relevant for UPSC. So make sure that you stay till the end. Now we have curated this session with UPSC perspective so that it can directly help you in your UPSC preparation. You can also download these notes from our Telegram channel and can visit our website for a comprehensive look further. Now let us start with the first topic of the day, that is industrial output. And the article states that the industrial output has slowed down to 4.9%. Now, this article in particular is not important, but what is important is IIP, that is Industrial Production Index. Now, let us see what is that and how is it important for UPSC. Industrial Production Index, a key indicator of India's industrial performance. So now you know that this particular index actually helps you to know that how Indian industries are performing. Now what is IIP? We have covered that it is a composite indicator that measures the volume of production in India's industrial sector. The important term here is the volume, that it measures the volume. Then purpose is to assess the short-term trends in industrial output. Again, another important fact is that it is published by NSO, Ministry of Stats and Program Implementation, that is MOSPI. The frequency is monthly and base year is 2011 to 12 with 100 base points. You have to remember all these three things which are very important for UPSC. There has been previous year questions. Now let us see what does IIP measures. It measures mining, it measures manufacturing and it measures electricity. Now these are the things that it includes under mining: coal, crude petroleum, natural gas, metallic, non-metallic minerals. Manufacturing of goods in registered factories. Now you have to remember that non-registered factories are not covered. Then we have electricity. It includes generation, transmission and even the distribution. IIP is a weighted index based on the value added of each sector and industry, which basically means that it counts what value has been added to the previous material. Now the state of the article is that the article basically is stating that IIP growth has slowed down to 5%. It is slower than around 6% in April 2025, and mining and quarrying output has declined. So basically this is the main reason why overall index has been declining. Manufacturing sector, however, grew by 6.2%. Now this is a good indicator, since this makes us non-renewable energy dependent. It is very important for India to cut down mining, at least phase it down, and to increase the manufacturing sector. Now electricity sector has also grew by 4.9%, which is around 5%. Then water supply activities has also grew by 6.5%. Now there has been another important follow up in IIP, that is the base year has been revised from 2011-12 to 2022 and 2023. So here we saw that the base year was written as 2011 and 12. This was the case earlier. Now with the latest development, the base year is 2022 till 2023. Now this becomes very important for prelims. Now why was this revised? To reflect structural changes, to incorporate new products and to improve accuracy. What are the new features of the revised series? We have expanded our product baskets. We have improved our coverage. There is better weights given in the form of GVA, and then we have improved granularity for policy analysis. Importance is that it is indicator of industrial health and economic growth. It helps in policy formations and timely interventions. In inflation, it also helps in revising the policies and framing the monetary policies. Then it is useful for investors, industry. It is useful for input accounts, national accounts, etc. Now we have limitations to IIP as well, as it does not cover informal and unregistered sector, which we were discussing. Then we also have data gaps and reporting delays. It does not measure quality or technological change. It only measures quantity, what has been produced. Now, seasonal and external shocks can distort short term trends since it is measured monthly. It is not very reliable on the monthly basis. Now, from UPSC perspective, it can be asked in your GS3 Indian economy. Say the reasons that we have covered or the importance of IIP that we have covered could be asked as a mains question as well. But the other facts such as base year, released by whom, what are the components of IIP can be asked as a prelims question. Now the way forward again remains the same, that it has to strengthen data collection, timeliness, enhance coverage, use of technology should be integrated, and we have to promote sustainable and green industrial growth. We have covered all this as important prelims fact. So this was all about IIP that we needed to cover for prelims. Now next topic that we have to cover for prelims is the India and Myanmar relations. No space for anti-India elements in Myanmar. Now you have to remember that from Myanmar we are suffering with Rohingya problems. There has been a junta party crisis. We also call it junta party crisis. And there is not much democracy in Myanmar. Then the Kuki Naga conflict that we have, or basically the northeast insurgency, it is being promoted by Myanmar, or at least those people cross the border and take refuge in Myanmar. That is why we always talk about the anti-India elements that are present in Myanmar, and this is what this article is covering. But for prelims and mains, let us cover the Indian-Myanmar relations. First of all, India and Myanmar share a long border. India was among the first countries to establish diplomatic relations in 1948. Then Myanmar is a key pillar for India's neighborhood first and Act East policy, since it is our very first neighbor. Now you may also keep this in mind, the length of the border and how many Indian states share their border with Myanmar. Look at this map. Arunachal, then we have Manipur, Mizoram, Nagaland. So these four states cover their border with Myanmar. Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram. India's only land bridge to Southeast Asia is Myanmar. So if India has to go to Southeast nations, we have to go through Myanmar or then through water, which again becomes a long route. But through land, only Myanmar is the option, since China won't allow us to go to the Southeast Asia. Now we have had historical and cultural ties, Buddhism, language, literature, Buddha in Myanmar, Began, Yangon, Rangoon also we call it. Then we have had links with Bose and INA in Rangoon. Then large Indian origin community in Myanmar, around 2 lakh Indians are present. Now what is the strategic importance of Myanmar for India? Firstly, it is about security. Second, it is about connectivity. It is gateway to Southeast Asia. We have covered economic opportunities and regional cooperation such as BIMSTEC and trilateral highway India-Myanmar Thailand. So now you know that it is important from security as well as regional connection perspective. Now recent developments, there has been some recent developments such as Myanmar President Min Aung visit to India in May 2024 assured India that Myanmar's territory will not be used by anti-India groups. Now you have to understand that these are the formal statements, and not much attention is paid to such formal statements, since we have had insurgency from Myanmar even after that. And in fact, it is blamed, Indian army is blamed by the insurgent groups, that we have taken out their people via airstrikes, to which Indian army has denied completely, but nevertheless, these things keep happening. Now, discussions include, we have discussed about security cooperation, border management, development, and promotion of democracy and stability in Myanmar, which is a big issue. Areas of cooperation against defense and security. Now you have to remember this, that IMBEX is a joint military exercise with Myanmar. These are the frequent questions which are being asked by UPSC nowadays. Now, connectivity and infrastructure we have covered. Now, Kaladan multimodal project, which is very important. This is being halted nowadays. Then we have energy cooperation, capacity building, scholarship and development assistant, and we have cultural and people to people ties. We have also covered this. Trade and economic relations. We have had bilateral trade of around 2 billion. India also exports petroleum products, medicine, vehicles, pulses, machinery, etc. to Myanmar, but there are also some imports: pulses, beans, natural gas, timber, fish, minerals, etc. Now, there are challenges in India and Myanmar relations, such as instability and political transition, which we were talking about in the start as well. Security concerns, insurgent groups, of course, infrastructure gaps, difficult terrain, and China's growing influence in Myanmar. So, to tackle all this, India's approach has been engagement, emphasis on peace, stability, democracy, development partnership. So, India has been always a good boy, so therefore, we have these kind of engagements only. Then we have Act East policy to reopen economic strategy and people to people ties. Now, what are the quick facts that you may know? First of all, the capital is Naypyidaw, which is very important. Could also be asked in match the following question. We have covered that there are 4 states that share their border with Myanmar. Multilateral forums that can come as a question from IR, such as BIMSTEC, ASEAN, BBIN, MBA, etc. And the border with India, you may not remember the exact numbers, but have this in mind that it is around 1600 kilometer. So this was about India and Myanmar relations. Third important topic for the day is about ED and PMLA. But first of all, let us cover UCC before that. Madhya Pradesh to roll out UCC, that is Uniform Civil Code, says CM. Now, this article is not important. This topic is important for UPSC. Uniform Civil Code, there has been questions on UCC. Now, what does UCC mean? UCC means a common set of laws governing personal matters of all citizens irrespective of their religion. For example, for now, Hindus cannot marry twice, they can only marry once, but it is allowed for Muslims. So, Uniform Civil Code says that all the matters should be equally represented, such as we had triple talaq case and the alimony given to Muslim women. Now, it states that if Hindus are not allowed to have a second marriage, so does Muslims should not be allowed, since it is a country being governed by rule and law. So it should be same for all. What all matters it covers? It covers marriage, divorce, maintenance, even inheritance in succession, and adoption. You have to remember these things. Now, what is the constitutional provision that talks about UCC? Very important. Article 44, Directive Principle of State Policy, Part 4, DPSP. So, whenever the constitution makers were making this directive principle of state policy, or they were giving some directions to the state, they engraved an article such as Article 44 to tell the people that we want this to be done in the upcoming times. We would want the Indian citizens to have same kind of rules and laws and to follow it naturally. So the objective is to promote equality, secularism, national integration, and remove disparities based on religion. Now, recent development is that Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister has said that we will rule out UCC. Some states have already ruled out. There will be a 6-member committee. This is specifically for Madhya Pradesh, so you need not remember this. You need to remember Article 44 and you need to remember the components or whatever the matters that this particular topic covers. Now, what is the current status? UCC is not pan India presently. India follows a system of personal laws based on religion. However, some states have applied UCC, such as Uttarakhand. Himachal was also talking about this. Assam is also talking about UCC, so is UP talking about UCC, and now we have Madhya Pradesh talking about it. Now, these are the examples. This is what we were talking about, that there are different laws and different rules based on religion. States that have adopted UCC, we were talking about this only. Uttarakhand has adopted, Gujarat has adopted, Assam has adopted, Goa has also adopted, Daman and Diu, Nagar Haveli has also adopted. Now, Supreme Court has said that in Shah Bano case, this case is important to remember, and Sarla Mudgal case urged the government to take action on UCC. Observe that UCC is a important thing towards national integration. So, timeline for key events. Now, this is not important, but what is important is to remember these cases. Again, can come and match the following cases. That Shah Bano case and Sarla Mudgal case deals with UCC. Now we have different challenges and different arguments. Some people do support UCC, but then there are few arguments against UCC. It states that it violates religious freedom and personal laws. Then there is a fear of majoritarianism. There is a diversity of custom and tradition. Then, of course, how will you integrate tribal people as well? Then there is a social resistance and lack of consensus on UCC, and there is an implementation challenges. But to give an answer to these theories or these statements against UCC, there has been statements in favor of it. They state that it promotes gender equality, social justice, it will help in national integration, and it is the true form of secularism. Then it ensures equal rights and it removes any discrimination based on religion. It also simplifies legal system. And now when we have different states following UCC, we can also use them as examples. But there are challenges in the implementation, such as it is a sensitive issue, there is a need for wide consultation, balancing uniformity. But basically, we need consensus for UCC to be applicable. Now, we have seen the constitutional basis, we have seen the nature, we have seen the status in India, we have seen states. These are also important. They can be asked in UPSC Prelims. Then recent move we have covered, and aim we have also covered. Now let us jump to the fourth important topic of the day, that is 35 MLAs sworn in as minister, strength has become 41. Now again, this is not important. What is important is the State Council of Minister strength and the constitutional provisions related to it, which are usually asked in prelims. So let us see. Now we have seen that what is the Council of Minister? The people who are appointed by Prime Minister as his aide and who works on who gives aid and advice to governor is known as State Council of Minister. They are the real executive. Now the key provision is Article 164 1A. You have to remember this. Total number of ministers including CM should be less than 15% of the total strength of the assembly. Now there are exceptions to it, 10% for Delhi, and there is no limit for Puducherry. Minimum strength is not specified in the constitution. You have to remember this, that minimum strength is not specified, only the percentage is specified. Governor allocates portfolio to ministers. The limit excludes Minister of State and Deputy Chief Minister. Deputy Chief Minister does not come under this 15% cap, and Ministers of State also does not come under this 15% cap. That is why you must have seen that there are so many states that have Deputy CM. Therefore, we can have another person with an important portfolio without him being counted as a part of Council of Minister. Now let us see. This is the maximum permissible size in state. West Bengal, it's 294. Now this is the current, this is what we were talking about, this is the case. 15% limit gives 44.1% as maximum strength. Currently we have 41 as the current state. Now you can see that Uttar Pradesh has maximum, then we have Maharashtra, and then we have West Bengal. So basically the precedence is important for you to know here. Now objectives of the 15% limit is that there should not be an overzealous council, there should not be financial burden, it should increase efficiency, etc. Then we have judicial view. The Supreme Court in Bomulangu Roy case stated that the 15% cap is mandatory. Any breach is unconstitutional and the people should be disqualified under 10th schedule. You have to remember this as well. Then let us see composition of Council of Minister, and we have covered the constitutional provision 164 1A and 163 states that Council of Ministers has to aid and advise governor. We have covered the recent update. Now let us see the composition of Council of Minister. We have Chief Minister, we have Cabinet Ministers, we have Minister of State, we have Minister of State Independent Charge and Deputy Chief Minister. Now we have seen that these two are not covered under 15% cap. We have seen the importance as well. This timeline is basically not important. So what we had to cover from this article for prelims was article 163 and 164 1A. Then we need to know that there is a 15% cap and there is an exception to this 15% cap, that is 10% for Delhi. And you have to know that this is only the percent, not exact numbers. So constitution does not give the exact numbers or the minimum or maximum strength. So this was about this article. Now let us see another article important for the day, which covers ED and PMLA. So we need not cover this, whatever is happening here, we need not cover that, but ED that has been mentioned in this article becomes important for UPSC prelims. Now let us see. What is the case snapshot? There is a division bench of Kerala High Court which ordered ED to maintain status quo in Cochin mineral case. Bench will pronounce its orders later, etc. Now again, this is not important. What is happening is not important for us, but we need to know what is ED. It is a multidisciplinary law enforcement agency. It functions under Department of Revenue, Ministry of Finance. Very, very important. Again, it was established in 1 May 1956. Very, very important. Renamed AD in 67. What does it enforce? There are few laws that it enforces which are important. Again, provisions of FEMA, PMLA, conducts investigation, attachment of properties, adjudicates contraventions under FEMA. It works in coordination with agencies like CBI, Income Tax Department, RBI, etc. Now ED powers under PMLA. Then search, seizure, arrest, record statements, issue summon, attach property. You have to remember that it can attach properties, and there is a file prosecution complaint before special courts. It also works under other laws, but before that, let us see what is PMLA. Prevention of Money Laundering Act. This is the main act on which ED currently works. Enacted to prevent money laundering, provide for confiscation of property derived from or involved in money laundering. It came in force on 1 July 2005. It is administered by ED. Now, what is money laundering? Process of concealing or disguising the nature, source, location, disposition, movement of proceeds of crime. This is very, very important. Proceeds of black money. Predicate offense, scheduled offense under law. Then attachment, can attach properties up to 180 days if involvement has been there. Then there is adjudication. Confirmed attachment can be adjudicated by the authority There is a burden of proof, reverse burden. Now, usually we say that in courts, you are innocent until proven guilty. But in ED case, if you are accused and your property is attached, then you have to prove yourself innocent. Until then, you are guilty. So there is a reverse burden. Then we have special courts for the trials, and for bail we have stringent bail provisions. That is why you usually see that people mostly run out of the country. Then there has been recent legal positions under PMLA and its constitutional validity. These are the cases that you might want to remember: Vijay Madanalal Chaudhary case, Nikesh Tarachand Shah case, Janhit Abhiyan case. All of this upheld PMLA and stated that ED can attach property, and there is for a need for enforcement case information report before investigation. Now, timeline of CMRL case, not important. We don't have to see the case in particular. We needed to cover what is ED, what does PMLA does, how many laws does this ED can cover. PMLA is independent in addition to other laws. It also can investigate with other agency. Existence of predicate offense is mandatory. The offense that we were just covering is mandatory. So this was all about ED and PMLA that was important for us to know. Now let us jump to the editorial analysis for the day. Now this particular article is covering the reports of NFHS 6. We have also covered this article previously. We have covered what is NFHS, what all data has been given by National Family Health Survey this time. So it is India's flagship survey on health and family welfare. This is happening in 2019 to 21, and it covers population health, nutrition, family planning, etc. Key findings: there is a big picture. There are some things that we should be happy about, and some data that should make us worry. So there are some unaddressed needs. This is what this particular article was talking about. Now let us see what are the key findings. First one is about child health. We have seen that all the three indicators, wasting, stunting and undernutrition, they were declining. Immunization has improved, fertility has come down from total replacement rate, then maternal health is getting better, then we have breastfeeding is also declining. People are now giving more food to children, but there is again concerns. These concerns are that women having anemia from 15 to 49%, even though has decreased but still remains at 53%, which is a high number. Then we have adolescent girls, which are around again 50%, and adolescent boys, which are around 27%. Therefore high burden persists even though the numbers are decreasing. Then there are emerging concerns. So what is the pain that has been talked about in the article? These emerging concerns in particular. Emerging concerns are obesity. Obesity is increasing in India. It has become now 27%, up from 23%. Malnutrition still continues. There are lifestyle diseases. We also call them non-communicable diseases. There are mental health issues growing, and inequalities still persist. Now, why this trend matters? Because it can help us to decode policies to help them. Strong child and maternal health outcomes, high levels of anemia, malnutrition, obesity, NCDs. This is what we were talking about. And then we can also track our progress with respect to SDGs, especially 2, 3, and 5. You have to write SDGs in your answers, in your mains answers. These help you fetch more marks. Data for action: why NFHS matters. It generates reliable, comparable data. It helps in evidence-based policy, so it will help us in planning and monitoring. It is essential for SDGs and NHPs, and it also enables identification of vulnerable population. Then what is the way forward? We have to strengthen our interventions. We have to go for more immunization. We have to give more folic acid tablets, then promote exclusive breastfeeding. We have to scale up prevention, control NCDs. We have to integrate mental health services, and we have to tackle inequalities. So in overall, this is the data that this particular article and NFHS 6 was covering. We have also covered this in a previous video. You can also watch that video to have a more comprehensive look. Anemia 52% has come down, then breastfeeding has come down, institutional deliveries has increased, total fertility rate come down to 2.0, full immunization has increased, wasting has decreased, stunting has decreased. So this data shows that there are things that we should celebrate, but then we also have to cover what measures needs to be taken to counter the shortcomings. Then it is conducted by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Very, very important. Implementing agency is IPS. There has been a question on this. We have covered prelims question earlier as well. Periodicity is it happens every 5 years. NFHS 6 covers 2019 to 21, and it had around 6.5 lakh household data, which is the largest ever. Now you can use this as a conclusion that NFHS 6 shows that India is moving in the right direction, but unfinished agenda must be urgently addressed to ensure a healthier and productive and inclusive India. So this was all about today. These are all the articles that you needed to cover from the Hindu newspaper for June 2nd. I hope you like the content. If you did, do like, share, subscribe our channel, and press the bell icon so that you can have repeated updates whenever the video comes up. And thank you so much. See you in the next session.